What even move?
You think that's enough, or should we go 200, or should we go 250, 250?
No, okay.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's
But I would like to see the final draft before it hits the so that everybody can see it.
okay. So we'll put it on the agenda for what the last board meeting June for passage, and then we'll get the final copy way before you.
Yeah.
For next meeting.
I'm fine, how are you? Anything new and exciting? How was your day today?
Join the meeting now, Kathy. I'll bet. Backdoored it.
They did change the
Backdoored it, went into Maria's email.
They changed the website. I didn't sign it. It's now it's like go.ordinance.com.
I bet that's what it is, because I can get an invite to the conference.
You were out of the office, so she was in.
No, don't remember. No one else is complaining, don't.
They're gonna run into the same thing.
They may not, because I don't, they don't.
I just ran into an issue with the school.
Please don't do it till after the meeting.
No.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, excuse me, did you say this was open? I don't see
Yes.
an open join thing. What do I do?
Turn the little arrow round thing at the top.
Which, this thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't click on it, that's why.
What do you mean I didn't click on it?
Then which meeting you want to join?
Well, I didn't know I was supposed to.
I'll join meeting.
All right.
There we go. Now you're in good shape.
Okay, thank you. Don't we all sound good? It's all cough and you.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'll call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, June 12th, 2019, at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kagan?
Here.
Trustee Crowley?
Here.
Trustee Gillis? Here. Trustee Iden?
Here.
Trustee Killily? Trustee Kreis?
Here.
Mayor LaRue?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our fallen veterans. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I would also just like to say, as we recognize our veterans, that Midlothian lost a World War II hero this week, Bob Bell. He served honorably in World War II as part of the Army Air Corps. Is that correct, Don? 94 years old. He was on our honor flight to Washington, D.C. in 2010. His son surprised him in Washington, D.C. His son, who's a pilot, showed up, and we talked about that yesterday when I went to the wake. So please keep our local hero, Bob Bell, and his family in your prayers. Dave Twombly was on that honor flight. George Doden was on that honor flight. I was on that honor flight. Bob's story is in Don's book, and he truly is a hero, and there's very few of our local World War II veterans remaining.
Thank you. All right. Chief Delaney has a present the award to Officer Blanchard tonight. Want to come up here?
Good evening. On May 31st, 2019 at 8:30 p.m., Officer Blanchard was on routine patrol. He was flagged down by a citizen that was requesting help for an elderly man that was choking. The man had been eating dinner and he had started choking on a large piece of meat. Officer Blanchard approached the residence and found the man on the porch unresponsive. The man was not responding to verbal or physical stimuli. He was not breathing, and his skin was beginning to lose its natural color. Officer Blanchard, without hesitation, began performing the Heimlich maneuver. A short time later, a large piece of meat became dislodged from the man's mouth and airway. After a few minutes, the man was coherent, breathing on his own and speaking. The Midlothian Fire Department arrived on scene and assessed the man. The The man was able to sign a medical refusal and actually stay at his home. Officer Blanchard's ability to remain calm and utilize his training immediately likely resulted in him saving that man's life. Because of this, I'm proud to present Officer Blanchard with this life-saving award for his heroic actions.
I believe that Mr. Twombly and Don Dalton are here to present an award to.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Twombly. I'm the chairman of the Midlothian Veterans Committee. And tonight we'd like to, on behalf of the Veterans Committee and the Village of Midlothian, we'd like to recognize our good friend, John Wodarski. If you would come up here, John. Okay, this is from the Midlothian Veterans Committee, Certificate of Appreciation to John Wodarski. The Midlothian Veterans Committee proudly presents this Certificate of Appreciation to our exceptionally loyal, long-time volunteer photographer, John Wodarski, in sincere gratitude and thanks for his many years of extraordinary service, dedication, and devotion while photographing countless veteran functions in Midlothian. He has exhibited outstanding skill, unselfishness, and good cheer in memorializing these events, and always covering the entire Veterans Day parade route, often during sweltering heat, and in quickly providing the committee with copies of his pictures. Over more than a decade, his selfless and generous efforts have enabled us to document and memorialize the many patriotic functions which have honored our beloved military veterans. On behalf of myself and the rest of the committee, thanks a lot, John. You not only patriotic thing. Also, on behalf of the committee and the Village of Midlothian, we'd like to present you with Don Dalton's book, A Tribute to the Men and Women of Midlothian in World War II. And a few of us have signed it, but like I said, on behalf of everybody and for all the things you've done for us. John's dad and my dad were World War II veterans, and his dad had the distinction of liberating one of the concentration camps. So God bless your dad.
Get in the picture, Don. Gail, you get in the picture too. And I also want to thank Gail, who's always been out there in sweltering heat, John's wife, Gail. So thank you, Gail, and thank you for sharing your husband with us on so many days and on so many occasions. Okay, great.
You look this way. Take a second. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John. And I believe Trustee Kreis is going to present a Keep Midlothian Beautiful award.
Could I have, who's ever here, I know I see Keep Midlothian Beautiful board members here, radio, come up here. So you gotta get up here too. Oh. You gotta get up here too. You have a picture. You want a picture.
Want me to take it home?
You want to read this? You got it. You got it. The certificate of appreciation is to acknowledge the efforts of Ever Latham for random acts of beautification. Thank you for taking time to beautify our community. It's
exceedingly more difficult in these busy times to engage the volunteers you need, but you make time in your busy schedule to make a difference. Thank you. Keep Midlothian Beautiful Committee and Board of Directors, Village of Midlothian. So what I want to tell you about Deborah, for almost a year, I was calling her the, lady? No, I was calling her, I totally lost my word. She was just this person who every day I saw her, I'd be driving down the street, she's picking up garbage. Everywhere I see her, she's just picking up garbage. And I never had one of our little thank you surprise certificates with me, so she showed up at cleanup day. We were like, thank God, here's the random cleaning lady. So we finally get to thank Deborah. Thank you very much.
And Deborah, we've got some gifts for you. Would you like a white shirt or a black shirt? Keep it over you, the shirt. That's what Helen thought. And here, and we want to make sure that you keep cleaning up, so we have hand sanitizer and gloves, and a little token of our appreciation. And we know where you're going. We know where you're going, and you're to keep Midlothian Beautiful official bag. So thank you. Thank you. The mystery trash. We love mystery trash busters. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
All I can say is Midlothian is very, very fortunate with our police officers and our veterans and our many, many volunteers. Tonight was just a small snippet of what Midlothian has to offer, and look forward to giving more awards in the future. Very nice. All right. At this time, is there any members of any village commissions or committees here tonight?
Jean Martecki, Midlothian Beautification Committee, Keep Midlothian Beautiful, and Safety Committee, and Friends of the Library.
Dave Conley, the chairman of the Midlothian Veterans Committee and American Legion 691.
George Dillon, Veterans Committee, Midlothian VFW, Midlothian American Legion.
Any members of any local organizations here tonight? Which you already covered.
Helen and Theta, we know you're on Natalie Creek, Keep Midlothian Beautiful, Rain Ready, whatever. And Don, you're on the Veterans Committee as well.
Thank you all for coming. All right, this time I will open the floor to public comment. If you would like to be made a matter of public record, please stand, state your name and address, and please use the microphones so that Helmut can hear it. Jean?
Hi. Jean Bartecki, 15049 Pulaski Road. I'm going to make an announcement tonight, and I just have a few items I want to say. This is on behalf of the Beautification Committee, Bob and I, and the Flower Box Project. One of our big goals this year was to continue the Flower Box program through our business district. This was a big undertaking that took us all by surprise with the amount of business participation. 15 new boxes were made this year. On behalf of the Beautification Committee's Flower Box Project, Bob and I would like to thank the following people. I promise it's not really long. Public Works, for all they have done to make this project run smoothly. Picking up the wood at Menards and dropping it off at my house for Mike, the flower box builder. They did this not just once, but 3 times. They also picked up the finished flower boxes and dropped them at different locations around town for us. They also dropped off boxes that needed to be repaired. We so appreciate everything that you did for us. For Joe and Carl, for meeting with Roy's Landscaping and arranging a meeting for Bob and Janice to attend to discuss flowers, dirt, and watering. For Kathy, for sending out the letters to the businesses. To the businesses that participated this year, all 15 of them. We now have 34 boxes scattered throughout town. To the individual and the businesses that made monetary donations to the Flower Box project. To Maggie, for promptly sending over the forms to Bob and I and keeping records and making our numbers all met up. To Don, for donating the plaques that will be put on all the flower boxes. To Mike, the Flower Box King, as Bob and I have decided to name him, for spending the time picking out the wood, building them, getting them out on a schedule, for preparing ones that needed them done and spending hours staining the ones that needed to be restained around town. Also, on another side note, we want to thank Public Works for doing the signs around town. They really look nice. Another project for a later date, how to light them up. And me personally, I want to thank my co-committee man, Bob, for helping with the placement and who continues to monitor the progress of the boxes. Thank you all. Now, another project the Beautification Committee is doing, which I'm really proud of this committee because we all work so hard and do so much behind the scenes and stuff, and nobody really realizes it. We're having our garden walk on July 14th, and we're looking for any local gardeners that would like to participate. You can get forms, you can see Carl, or you can get forms at the Village Hall. It's $8 to come to the event. It's our fundraiser, and we have a super cool Star Wars planter that one of our committee members, Scott Schultz, built for us. It's really neat. So we hope to see everyone there. Now, I have a safety committee item. Recently, I was told in April that they were going to address the bus stop on 147th and Lawndale. What's the status on that?
I reached out to Bruce from the company that takes care of the bus shelters early in the week. He got back to me today. He heard from the electrician. The power has been disconnected, and they're hoping to have it moved by the end of the week.
Thank you.
They blame weather-related delays, so.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Oh. Yes.
Thanks to one other person, Jean.
Yeah.
She didn't name herself, but thanks to Jean also for helping out with everything. And also you were staining the boxes also in
Yeah.
all sorts of weather. Thank you.
Cold, rain.
They look great.
Thank you.
Dita?
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Last November, I talked to you and I talked to Maggie about the garbage that I'm paying on an empty apartment.
Yes.
I have heard nothing from either one of you, and I'm still paying the garbage for an empty apartment.
We talked about it, and I thought we told you that we pay a lump sum to Republic to cover everyone's garbage. So if you stop paying us, then we still have to pay the garbage for you. And you're not the only one that's requested that. We've had numerous requests from people saying that, I don't use my garbage, I take it to work and I use it there, but we're, the
I pay
village.
2 garbages.
Right. Then that's how we sign the contract with Republic. We know how many water bills, and we say these are the number of households you're gonna pick up, and that's how we come to that number, and that's what we have to pay annually. So, the village still has to, just because you're not using that garbage, the village still is paying for that admin.
That is ridiculous, Gary. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. The village then ought to give the billing back to the garbage company so that if you aren't using the garbage, you can cancel it.
That could
I
be
mean,
done,
that-
but the
that
rates
is
would go way up
That
because
is ridiculous.
we get a better price if we go a lump sum village-wide. to
Maybe
get a-
you do, but I don't.
You're just paying what we're charged. We're not,
But why should I pay for something I'm not using?
I don't disagree with you. The problem is that we've signed this long-term contract with Republic based on the number of households. So the village is still paying that garbage, whether you're using it or not. If I don't put my garbage out, it's just Lori and I, and we sometimes just have one bag of garbage and I don't put it out. The village is still paying for my garbage.
Well, I pay for garbage every week, every month, just like everybody else does, but I don't see why I should pay for two.
We gave you a solution. We told you, cut the water on that
Well, I
second,
guess that's what I'll have to do.
and then you don't get any bill.
Before I put the house up for sale, so where I can get out of here. Because no matter what you do, or how you try to help this village, it ends up with you getting the bad end of it every time. I have done all I could do to help this village, and I have got nothing but bad things from this village. And I appreciate all the bad things you've done for me.
Anyone else? Dave?
Once again, my name is Dave Twomley from the Midlothian Veterans Committee. I'm here tonight. I know there's not a lot of village residents here, but I can't think of any other better forum than to speak here about our committee's problem, and that is of lack of participation. I think as a committee, we're on life support as it is right now. We can't even muster enough people for a quorum to have a legitimate meeting. I've gone on the social media and put out a request for anybody that feels patriotic and want to help veterans. You don't have to be a veteran, but we need some new blood. We need some additional people. We need some new ideas. We're kind of stagnant right now. The 4 or 5 people that do show up are the only ones that, I can't say the only ones, but for the better part of the time, they're the only ones that actually do anything. And we're taxing them with all these things that we want to do, but like I said, we can't even have a legitimate meeting because not enough people want to show up. So I'm putting out, what I'm feeling is my last plea to the residents of Midlothian. You don't even really have to live in Midlothian to be a member of our committee, but we're here for our main purpose is to help veterans, period. Whatever we can do for veterans, we try to do, whether it be through, when we had the honor flight, we've had, let's call it a shindig over at the Raid A Lodge for all the veterans to come in and be informed of the things that they're entitled to. We've done numerous projects and we've been successful at everything we've done. The parade that we've had every year since our inception, and now it's just, we don't have enough people to do the things we want to do. So I'm pleading with the residents of Midlothian, please come out if you feel at all patriotic. Not everybody can sit on the curb. People have to be in the parade. You know, you can't just watch it go by. And I'm trying to take the high road, but I'm getting a little aggravated about people that claim that they're patriotic and they fly their flag once a year. Fly your flag every day. Thank a veteran when you see him. You know, without our veterans, we might be speaking a different language at this point in time. But I'm pleading with everybody, including the people here, if you have such a desire to be patriotic, you can show it in this fashion. And we would certainly welcome any and all people that want to be in our committee. So we meet on Tuesdays, once a month. It's always on the agenda for the village. So please, if people want to come out, please do. We need your help, or I guess we're just going to be either stagnant forever or just disband the committee. Whatever comes after that comes after that. So I just put out my plea. So please put the word out. Anybody that wants to be on the committee, let's do it. We can't forego or forget our veterans for all they've done for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for everything you've done for the committee and the village. We're on YouTube there. We will be on YouTube. Hopefully we can get more people. We'll keep putting out the word and doing what we can. Same with the other committees too. We need some help. Anyone else? Okay, I will close the floor to public comment and move on to tonight's consent agenda. Number one, approval of ordinance 2029, authorizing disposal of personal property owned by the Village of Midlothian. Number two, approval of the award to contract for the 2019 roadway resurfacing program to the lowest bidder, Iroquois Paving, in the amount of $444,770.15. Number three, approval of the non-union benefits policy. Number four, approval to extend offer employment to part-time firefighter paramedic candidate. Number five, approval to create a $500 Independence Day parade budget. Number six, approval of committee meeting minutes for April 3rd, 2019. Number seven, approval of board meeting minutes for April 10th, 2019. Number eight, approval of committee meeting minutes for April 17th, 2019. Number nine, approval of special board meeting for April 23rd, 2019. Number 10, approval of board meeting minutes for April 24th, 2019. Approval of committee meeting minutes for May 1st, 2019. Approval of board meeting minutes for May 8th, 2019. Approval of committee meeting minutes for May 15th, 2019. Number 14, approval of a list of bills. Is there any item any trustee would like off of tonight's consent agenda?
Number three, Mayor.
Number three, anyone else?
I don't want to take the item off of the list of bills, but I did want everybody to be aware, there is a check being, for our annual dues, Keep America Beautiful of $110. I did send an email to the treasurer today. I did get an email from Grace Keegan at Keep America Beautiful and asked us to disregard. We do not have to pay an affiliate annual fee until 2020.
So we are amending the list of bills to remove something, or?
Keep America Beautiful for $110.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda without number three, the approval of the non-union benefits policy, and the amendment on the face of the list of bills, removing the Keep America Beautiful payment.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Kevney?
No.
Trustee Crowley?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, let's take care of the non-union benefits policy. I'm looking for a motion to approve the non-union benefits policy that was provided to the board. Looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to bring up a comment that I am for the idea of improving this and having a benefit policy for the non-union workers, with the exception of number 6B, which I would be in favor of approving the policy, amending B to read that qualified retirees only hired on or after 6/1 of 2019 not yet eligible for Medicare or not eligible to participate in the same medical and dental plan identified in paragraph 2, and that would mean remove 6B1 and 6B2 and keep 6B3 in.
Trustee Kavney brought up the motion. She's the one who provided the policy. I would defer to her if she'd like to change her motion.
So Jerry, you want to delete subparagraph 1 and 2 and leave in paragraph 3?
Paragraph 3 would stay the same, yes, but eliminate 6B to read that retirees are not eligible to qualify for the same plan in paragraph 2.
Wait, I'm confused. All right, under paragraph 6B, there are 3 subparagraphs of subparagraph 1, 2, and 3. What are you, I'm confused as to what you're suggesting here.
Let me get to it, please. Under 6B, what I'm suggesting is that we do not offer what is in 6B 1 and 2, meaning that you're saying that in this hired after 6/1 of 2019, they are eligible to participate in the same medical and dental plans identified in paragraph 2 above.
Correct.
I'm saying that I do not feel that we should offer retirees hired after 6/1 the option of being able to participate in our health plan.
Okay, and I respectfully disagree. When we had started this discussion over a year ago, trustee Killily and trustee Kreis brought it to a finance committee meeting, and they had brought up the suggestion that we needed to do cost containment. And it was their idea that we would limit, and this would be under paragraph 3, for current employees, for their medical insurance, that the village would continue to pay an 80-20 split, but it would be limited to the HMO plan, and if they wanted a higher plan, they could choose a higher plan, but they would have to pay the difference. So we had discussed this several times ad nauseum, but nobody would take the reins and draft a plan. So I volunteered to do so in February. And as we continued to have discussion, you and trustee Crowley were both concerned about the fact that employees in police and fire who might be promotable to come out of the union would then take command positions where they would not be eligible to have retiree insurance.
I never had said I was concerned.
Oh, I apologize. Well, let me rephrase that. You had stated at one board meeting, I recall, that that's something that they could negotiate. So I thought, well, if we're going to allow police and fire to negotiate it, our non-union employees don't have any option. They don't have any contract to negotiate. So I had told the board several times that I was going back to my original position, that I did not feel that it was fair at this time for the village to eliminate retiree insurance for new employees coming forward. That's the reason why I drafted paragraph 6B in the fashion that I did. So just so everyone here and everyone watching at home knows, paragraph 6B is retiree insurance for new employees hired after June 6th, whereby they would also, and this is for retirees who are under age 65 who don't qualify for Medicare, they will have, instead of an 80-20 split like current retirees would get, or current employees would get, their split would be 60-40. And that would be the same for the dental plan, 60-40.
So you're keeping your motion the same?
I'm keeping my motion the same.
Is there any other discussion?
I would just like to point out, and we've talked about this at the finance committee meetings, and I looked at the audit and I did some calculations, and this is from the 2017 audit. And these are the other post-employment benefits, or it's called OPEB, correct, Treasurer Britton? In 2015, the annual OPEB cost to the village was $856,821. Contributions, $315,714, which means the village had to pick up $541,107. Would that be correct, Treasurer Britton?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing, 2017, annual OPEB cost. And again, this is for the retiree insurance, $932,539. Contributions from the retirees, $362,623. So there's a difference there that the village had to make up of $569,916. And the net OPEB obligation at the end of 2017 is over $4.4 million. So looking at this, I cannot in good conscience continue. This was almost like kicking the can down the road because these OPEB obligations are so huge and they continue to grow every year. I think I want to thank you, Trustee Caveney, for drafting this policy. I know it took a lot of work, and we're not taking current employees. If you're here, you're going to get your retiree health insurance. This would affect new employees brand-new employees. So when they're hired, they would be aware that they are not getting
But it
retiree
only
checks.
affects brand-new employees who are non-union employees, and that's a very, very small subset of our employees.
That's
Well,
not true. Public Works, their contract, they don't get health care
Well,
insurance.
they gave that up when they negotiated.
they're
I'm
still
talking
union
about our non-
employees.
I'm talking about the other non-union employees that don't have a contract to negotiate.
Okay, well,
So I appreciate your comments. I do. I mean, it would have been great to have these numbers a year ago when we started discussing this, but I feel that your and Don's initial comments to us a year ago or over a year ago were that we need to do some cost containment. So I feel that the way that I drafted this policy does give the village some additional cost containment on retiree insurance for our non-union employees who, you know, we're talking about people who have to come to work here who will be here for another 20 years.
So, again, I think Trustee Keaveney did a great job. She took a terrible job and trying to deal with, you know, the wishes of different trustees and trying to figure it all out. Took a lot of time. I don't see any more gray hair, but I'd like to thank her for that. I just think we are not doing a good job here if we pass this the way in its present form, because we are writing a blank check for these benefits, and we don't know what they're going to be. The same reason that a lot of firms have discontinued defined benefit pension plans is for that exact reason. And we're in the village, for the village, we're struggling to pay pension plans now. They're defined benefit. We're going to, if we do it this way, we haven't eliminated our potential costs. We're going to add to it. In 20 years, when these employees start collecting benefits, if you assume that, you can assume anything you want, but I just took 3%. What our cost, gross costs would be, what our costs would be about $1 million per year. And how long are these retirees going to live? With medical, with the better medical practices, 20, 25, 30 years? Why should we write a blank check like that that's totally uncontrollable? If this turns out to be a bad policy, we're going to not take it away from the people who have the benefits. That's not right. But it's by the time if you figure out this won't work, 30 years down the road, what will actually our bill be for benefits? I understand that there's a concern that we might have issue attracting employees, good employees, and I think that's a legitimate concern. But I can't imagine in 20 years that retiree insurance will really be around for new employees. And if we do have trouble attracting employees, we can do one of two things. One is we can do what we've done over the last couple of years, and we've increased wages to attract quality employees, and that seems to have worked out pretty well. Or if that doesn't work, we could always backtrack, and we could change our retiree employee benefit policy. But we can't, once we start this, we've written a blank check for how long? 40, 50 years, and we don't know what it's going to turn out to be.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily the case, because we can always, policies are written and changed every day.
Well, for the employees that we're doing it now.
Well, I guess my question would be, as far as I know, and I might be mistaken, are there any full-time, do any of the department heads foresee in the next year hiring a full-time, non-union employee? A full-time, non-union employee? So we have one person that may affect if someone leaves the police department and they have to hire someone. That's our projection.
one check they're not sure about because we don't know how long people are going to live. They switch over to Medicare at 65
Right.
no matter what, so.
Right, but this would only affect someone hired after June 1st of this year.
And the converse, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead,
So,
finish.
to that, my, you know, hearing numbers, and Karen, thank you for getting those numbers, but unfortunately, my mind doesn't work that quickly, so having those numbers come out, I can't comprehend all of them without actually looking at them and seeing what you're talking about with the numbers and how many it will affect. So to my point, at this point, it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a difference if we pass this or don't pass it with regards to cost, because we won't see a cost savings benefit for the next 20 years, even if we pass this today based on that.
And if we do pass this today, Don said, if we don't pass it today, or we take the retiree language out for new employees, if it doesn't work, then 5 years down the road, we can add it back in. My comment to that would be, pass this now, and if 5 years down the road, municipal employee benefits, as municipal employee benefits change, then this document can be revised. And it could be revised to do further cost containment that would be effective 5 years down the road for any employees that are hired then.
Okay, there's a motion on the table for the non-union employee policy as given, and there's a second. I'm asking for a vote. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kidney?
Aye.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Crowley?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Nay.
Trustee Killian?
Nay.
Trustee Kreis?
Nay.
Mayor LaRue?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and as you said, this can always be revisited in years to come, so, but thank you for the work you did on it, and we'll see how it goes. All right, moving on to trustee business, trustee Grace.
Thank you, sir. Couple updates. The Natalie Creek Trail Steering Committee is June 20th at 11 a.m., and the next Keep Midlothian Beautiful Board / Steering Committee is June 20th at noon. We've set the July meetings for a little bit later in the day to hopefully attract more stakeholders. We're going to see what happens in July if we get more participation. We're trying to do a balancing act here because we've got two very strong groups that have done a great amount of work, and the Natalie Creek Trail obviously has over $300,000 grant. So we want to be mindful of getting the most participation as possible, but the July meetings will be later in the day. Also, the village will be hosting the chamber luncheon at the Rain Ready Community Garden tomorrow at 11:30. I think the rain is supposed to stop and dry out. And I want to thank all of the volunteers and Public Works. Joe, we couldn't have done this without you going and picking up that mountain of mulch. Didn't look so big when we started Sunday, and the goal was we were going to work from 3 until 5. And we worked until there was no more sunlight. So Helen was out there, Theda was out there, George, you were out there as well. I want to thank the volunteers who came out. I can't believe how hard we worked. Joe, we moved that entire mountain of mulch. Impressive. So thanks to everyone, and I believe that is all I have this evening.
Karen, can I ask, do you have a status for us on the vendor contract for the Rain Ready parking lot?
No, I have been so consumed with a couple things. The vendor status for the parking
The
lot?
contract, right. I was told that it was completed by the village about a week and a half ago, and given to turn over to them.
Superintendent Sperry I've basically handed it over to Superintendent Sperry. There's a pre-con meeting next week, is that correct?
Is the contract fully executed?
Yes. Yes. Got a copy of the bond. The bond is being sent to the clerk's office, and Superintendent Sperry is working on, with the engineer, setting up a pre-con meeting. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Ivan?
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to thank the beautification committee for their team effort and pulling together for the flower box, and how gorgeous they look already, the flowers, and the whole idea of putting them on those streets, especially in front of some of the places like that purple building. I also want to say that the village stickers, the post office has definitely not found the ones that have not been delivered. So we are going to order postcards to be delivered to every resident, reminding them to purchase vehicle stickers. And hopefully those will arrive. As a backup, we are going to post that village stickers should be purchased outside Village Hall, outside grills, and the church bulletins in St. Chris and St. Stephen's. We'll have that information as well. We'll also put that information on the library board, the library, and we'll also have an information flyer that we'll be able to hand out for dissemination as well. And we will also purchase signs for the high-traffic intersections.
I have a question. Has the post office offered to reimburse the village for the mail that they lost? Or give us a rebate on the postage that we had put on that?
I don't know, Maggie, what was the status of the investigation?
I think he is anticipating that he is still going to be able to find them.
Who's anticipating this?
What is his name?
Postmaster General?
Postmaster.
Right, but the problem is if he finds them, if they go out in the mail, it's going to be too late. It's for naught. Does he understand that this was time-sensitive data and we sent it out in plenty of time for our residents to get it and they screwed it up?
It was first-class mail, so he does understand that first-class mail is time-sensitive.
Maybe we should generate a letter to the postmaster.
Yeah, and maybe to, a senator or a congressman or somebody. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, I think, don't they have a process where you can file a claim? I think they do have a formal process where a claim can be filed.
I guess the problem would be is we don't know exactly how many did not make it to.
But we know that they lost a bundle of our mail.
But we don't know
And
how
that's the
much.
problem. The onus is on us, but they're not gonna let us go through the Midlothian post office
Well, how many-
or the other post office and look for it.
We don't know who didn't
But
get
how
it.
are we gonna rectify it? By sending postcards out to everyone?
We're hoping that the postcards make it to the residents this time.
Yeah, but I'm saying, we have to take that fee.
We
they
have
should
to pay
take
for that
in
again.
Consideration.
Right.
I will,
So whatever that fee is for that, they should offset it for the Class 1 mail that was less.
And because this is time-sensitive and citations will begin to be issued for the failure to timely get a vehicle sticker, I think the board should have a position as to whether there's going to be any relief through the administrative process. The hearing officer probably will not accept that as an excuse unless the board has a policy with regard to that. I'm not
Chief
saying...
Delaney's already been notified of the problem, and the officers will be notified not to write the tickets, so it won't even come to court. So we're going to give him a couple weeks, yes.
Okay.
Like through the end of July or through the middle of July?
Middle
or-
of July.
Huh?
Middle of July.
All right, any other
Can
questions?
I say something about it?
Sure.
Totally unrelated to the postage. I went in the other day to pay my sticker and my pet license fees, and I have to apologize to Trustee Britton. I did not understand what you were talking about when you were defining the need to clean up our database and information. I spent 30 minutes with one of your staff who was fantastic and very helpful, but it took 30 minutes for me to get 3 pet stickers and 3 car licenses for my home because the information wasn't in there, it wasn't in there correctly, it had to be located. So there certainly is some concern with that. So I just wanted to let you know I witnessed that firsthand.
Anything else?
All right, bonds. There's a possible issue date is still scheduled for late July. There's going to be a planning call between the underwriter, the bond counsel, and the village treasurer next week. And the treasurer is going to work with Ice Miller to update the village's official statement. Budget stuff. The treasurer has received some revisions to the budget that will decrease projected expenditures. The Finance Committee will discuss them at the next Finance Committee meeting on June 18th. Also, I believe there's going to be some additional revenue sources from what we got from IML from the mayor. So.
Could be years.
And also additional revenue sources that I sent out. I sent everybody an email today.
Oh, that's right, too.
From Chief Delaney.
We don't know that we'll get that money. That capital bill could be years before we get that money.
Yep.
We can't count on that.
We're certain we're gonna get ours. We already-
Orland Hill's got $8 million for a rec center. Anyways, sorry, Mayor Hastings, nice guy.
Well, hopefully the state won't run out of money either and pay us the taxes they owe us as well. So those are all possibilities in the state of Illinois. So So that ends my business as of that. Thank you.
sir. Trustee Gillis?
Yes, Mayor, I just wanted to remind the board the urgency of filling the position of Fire and Police Commission Secretary. I do not believe we have filled it as of yet.
I sent an email out to everybody last week. Dan started going through the applications, but with the process and getting people in to interview and that, our projection is at the very earliest by the end of July. So I did send an email to you and to Chief Hotwagner and to Chief Delaney and I think the mayor, saying that my best suggestion at this point until we fill that is, if Julie could help out with the fire test. Nobody else knows how to do it. There's nobody else available to do it. So she'd be the one we'd be asking for training. If it can wait until we can get someone hired, we want to get someone up and running as quickly as possible. But, the applications just closed like 2 weeks ago. We stopped taking it. We started going through them. Getting people in to interview. I think, how many do you have, Dan? 30, 40?
I gotta narrow it down. I'm not gonna-
Yeah, we have to narrow it down, and we're gonna at least have to have interviews with.
This is the part-time clerk position
Yes.
/ secretary.
So by the time we do that, by the time we come back for second interviews, by the time the board looks at it and approves it, by the time we do a background check, it's physically not possible to get it done any sooner than 6 to 8 weeks. There's just no possibility.
Do we have any other part-time employees?
We don't.
Any up front?
No.
The problem with having somebody else do it, Jerry, is nobody else knows how. Julie would still have to train that person.
Well, there still are a lot of items that need to be happening very soon. Not only is the firefighter paramedic list expires Monday, the testing for lieutenants and engineers is behind. So there are a lot of things that are, and I don't know that Julie can do it. She's full-time in the fire department. To added hours in the evening and on Saturdays, that's why she wasn't doing it anymore anyways.
Right.
So I think that's adding a burden to her that she may not want.
Right. I totally get it, but unfortunately, nobody else in the village knows how to do it. So even if, Steve and I talked about this the other day when I sent the email, unfortunately, there is no one else that knows how to do it.
Knows how to do what as far as taking minutes?
No, put the test together, that's what you're talking about, right? Putting the
Well,
test
she
together.
doesn't put the test together, but I'm saying even
Scheduling it and,
conducting the minutes for the Fire and Police Commission so they can start working on a test, getting the test advertised. The Fire and Police Commission, and stop me if I'm wrong, Fire and Police Chief, the commission is the one that organizes it. The secretary's taking the notes to generate the information that they need as they work together at a meeting to do this.
right, that was my understanding, is that the person who's the part-time person, under the direction, the police and fire commission tells the person to do, do the posting for the newspaper to tell people that we're having it. All of those things, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
correct?
but I'm saying they can have no action until they have a secretary to assist them by taking minutes and doing what secretaries do for them. So we don't have anybody outside of Julie that can do that in the evening when they meet, on a Saturday when they meet?
We do not have anyone, and Chief Delaney will get through the process as quick as possible, and the recommendation was to ask Julie if she could do it for a month. I don't know. So,
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
thank you, sir. Trustee Cavany.
Thank you, Mayor. Attached on the agenda is a copy of the American Tower lease amendment. I was not able to get to redline the document, but I also include, Maria had included the email that I had sent to the American Tower rep, so you could see what my comments were back to her. So I just wanted to put this out there so that you guys all had it. It's coming down the pike. You know what my concerns are with the document. I'll put my red line comments to it, and I will share it with Nick for his additional comments, and we'll send it to American Tower, and we'll negotiate it until it is in the form that the village can agree to, and then I will bring you that final form. So I won't bother you with, the red lines as we're going through them, but I just wanted to let you know that this is the document that we have, and there are some issues with it. One other thing, I was on the South Suburban Land Bank website today and was a little distressed as to what I saw. If you remember back on May 21st, Don had sent all of us a list with an update of all the properties that South Suburban Land Bank owns. There was the Waverly property, which is the former executive carpet cleaning. There's a new property, which is a residential property on Millard. There's a nail school on Pulaski, and then the Penny Pinchers building down on 147th Street. Well, when I looked on the South Suburban Land Bank website, they have a list of all the properties they own, but only two properties, they only list two properties in Midlothian. The only property that was on Don's May 21st list, the Penny Pinchers building, that is listed here, and on Don's email it said the Penny Pinchers building was listed. South Suburban Land Bank website says that it's a commercial building, says listing agent coming soon, asking price coming soon. So that leads me to believe that it's not listed. Another property that's on here is 14830 Kettler Drive, Unit 5W, Midlothian condo.
I just understood that was sold.
Well, according to this, well, first of all, it was never on the list. The village board didn't even ever know about it because it was never discussed here.
That might have been from a couple of years ago. I have a feeling that list has not been updated.
Okay, well, regardless, this list says that it's sold, but then they also have a secondary document that's a flyer page that lists flyers, and on this particular page, it says it's under contract. So again, I'm going to give this paperwork to you so you can contact the land bank and get things updated. But going back to a discussion that we had several months ago, we had talked about that Exhibit A that's attached to the intergovernmental agreement between the land bank and the village. And according to that intergovernmental agreement, that Exhibit A is supposed to be updated every time they acquire a property. And at that time when we discussed this, nobody ever told us about the Kettler condo, ever, 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 ever. And if you go back and you look at that Exhibit A, it's not on there. That wasn't, it wasn't listed as the first, hold on. It wasn't listed. If you remember, that intergovernmental agreement has the Exhibit A attached to it.
Kathy, that's only for abandoned properties. Abandoned commercial properties.
What about the residential properties?
Russ would pick those up, what do they call them, REOs, Don? Those are totally separate. They are totally separate.
Okay, so we'll get.
That's not what we, when we discussed this last month and I brought up the Millard property, nobody told us here that these REO residential properties were separate. So, you know, I looked at the website because I wasn't sure, again, how the South Suburban Land Bank Development Authority was created. Just for everyone's knowledge, South Suburban mayors and managers got a grant from HUD. And with that grant, they got together with multiple municipalities on the south side. They all executed intergovernmental agreements. South Suburban Land Bank was born. And the purpose of the land bank was to acquire distressed or abandoned properties and communities, and then in order to, because they were vacant and they had a lot of back taxes, so they were basically unsellable, to try to market these properties. We've been asking for status time after time after time, and you know, we're told that Penny Pinchers is listed, but then I see on this document it's not listed. So I don't know why South Suburban Land Bank would not have their website updated. That seems a little counterintuitive to me, because right underneath this list, there's a link where someone who's interested in a property, someone's interested in a property, they can go and open up this link to fill out an application to purchase a property.
Right.
The nail school's not on there.
Trustee Killer, you'll make sure that they update the.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Well, I've asked you before to ask them for updates, and obviously, there's got to be a miscommunication somewhere, Don, because they're not paying attention. Their own website's not updated. Doesn't list all of our properties on there. So I don't know what the problem is.
Look into that, get back to us.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Could I ask the building department a question? Is there an update on the Keystone condominium situation over there with the property?
145th block, the one I talked about yesterday.
We talking about the grass. Put on a list for Roy's Landscaping and Cut. They're also having today, they're having a meeting with the condo association, the residents, and the property maintenance company regarding assessments and what's necessary to bring that property I'll just say be properly maintained, and that's what happened today. Right, but as far as the maintenance on that property, they have been put on a list to be cut. Okay, as far as, I guess that's what you're asking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they're on the list to be cut, they were given notice, cited, and now they're on the list.
Thank you.
Trustee Killy?
Thank you, Mayor. I believe we should cancel the water bill or water workshop. Obviously, we chose a date that wasn't available, and I think it's just going to confuse things if we try to bring it to a different location, which I haven't found yet. The schools aren't really available because their custodial staffs are during the summer are working during the day, and they don't really have it open at night. But I think we should just find another date, have it here, eliminate confusion, and go from there.
Sounds good. We'll pick a date later in the year.
Are you going to stand here next week on Thursday, just in case people show up who don't hear that it's canceled, to let
Yes.
them know it's canceled?
Yes,
Okay.
that would be more want to do that.
All right.
Anything else, sir?
And that is all.
Trustee Crowley?
Oh, before we move on to trustee Crowley's business, sorry. So last week, at last week's meeting, we had just a quick discussion about the Public Works building, and that we should move forward with, what's that initials?
Q.
An RFQ. And trustee Killedy said we should hold on, because 2 weeks ago, now 3 weeks ago, he had a conversation with Joe, and Don told us that Joe reached out to Mr. Oliveri to come and take a look at the building, to possibly get a report on having the building fixed, have it repaired rather than replaced. So I was just wondering if you had an update.
Yes, Donna had a discussion today, and I reached out to Mr. Oliveri again. He wasn't too responsive early on, but today he answered me back. Him and I are going to talk tomorrow, hopefully at 2:30, and Donna and I talked. I'm going to see if he can give us a price on maybe looking at our building to see what it would cost to at least make it safe temporarily while we do an RFQ. So we might have to brace the wall, maybe some patching on the roof, because we're still going to live there for a long time, even if we decide to build another building, you know. So that's where we're at. So I'll find out something tomorrow from him.
Very good.
Trustee Crowley?
Thank you, sir. Just a couple things tonight. Update, our tax seminar that we had here on Monday night was a huge success. We had about 60 residents that came in. We had the assessor's office, the board of review, and trustee Britton was here.
Treasurer.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Don't demote her. Don't demote her.
I apologize. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. I've talked to a lot of people who came to the seminar, and I think a lot of people have a clearer understanding of how property taxes in the village work and how you can appeal them and what estimated values are. So I'm very happy with that. I think, thank you to everybody on the board that came. I think it was a really good night, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. So we will be looking forward to finding our next project to host a seminar on to educate the residents. So if anybody has any ideas, please keep me informed, and I'll be happy to help. The police department last Saturday hosted the annual Kids ID. It was also a success. I know everyone saw pictures on Facebook, and we've gotten a lot of feedback, and I think the community's appreciative of it. So if anybody was not able to make it last weekend, certainly contact the police department, and they can set up you coming in and getting the ID and possibly help with completing the packet if you need help. There is still time to donate to Sergeant Tebow and the 5-0 car for the Special Olympics race. If you haven't done so, it's on my Facebook page, it's on the police department's Facebook page, I know it's all over, so please support. It's a great cause. We're ready. Sergeant Tebow's and the entire Midlothian Police Department, with all of the activities, have raised a lot of money and really goes to help support a lot of special people, especially in the community. Just an update too, we are officially back down. We did lose another officer. We are down 2 officers. The police department is working on background checks, and as those become available and the police and fire commission send out approval letters to people on the list, I will be bringing them to the board for approval. I wanted to bring it up now because, again, being down 2 people puts us in a position to possibly incur overtime, and we want to eliminate that as much as possible. So we'll try to get that done as quick as possible. We already talked about that. Talked about that. Talked about that. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Chief Outrider.
Yes, sir. A couple of things. Today, the Illinois Department of Health was out to do the inspections on 3 ambulances. They all passed, so all done for another year. And we also received a check in the mail from State Fire Marshal's Office for reimbursement for education, the amount of $402.48, which was turned over to Treasurer. That's all.
Chief Delaney.
Yes, sir. It's okay, I'd like to read a letter I created about a foundation one of the officers created and scholarship that you
Absolutely.
get the microphone from the sound that yells at you. On May 29, 2019, a student at St. Christopher School was presented with the Eric Bowen Pace Award. Eric Bowen Pace Foundation was created by Midlothian police officer John Pace and his wife Christy Pace. Their son, Eric Bowen Pace, was a student at St. Christopher School and was scheduled to graduate 8th grade in 2001. Eric was a great kid who loved playing hockey. In the morning hours of December 13, 2000, Eric suddenly died from an undiagnosed brain tumor that he had never shown symptoms of having. The Eric Bowen Pace Award recognizes students who demonstrate a spirit of fairness, compassion, respect for themselves and others, genuine love and kindness, and who behave and act like a great person even when they think no one's looking. These are the attributes that Eric possessed. The 2019 award and a $1,000 scholarship was given to Timothy Florney, who was an 8th grader at St. Christopher School. I'd like to thank Officer Pace and his wife, Christy Pace, for creating this foundation and recognizing great kids. It's unimaginable to choose a child and continue to go forward, yet John and Christy somehow found the strength to create something positive and keep their son's memory alive. They also created the Core Matters program, which is being taught in elementary schools throughout Illinois. The curriculum is designed to teach respect and dealing with adversity and positive methods. John and Christy's thoughtfulness and huge heart was reflected in the amazing young man that they were raising.
Thank you for putting that out there too, and again, letting people know the great police department we have, so thank you. Chief, or Superintendent Wayne. Cap.
Tomorrow, we'll be back in Market Court, the Public Aid Building, hopefully we'll have some kind of ruling. We're supposed to testify. The court's supposed to be at 10:30, so the usual 9 o'clock court call. So we'll see what happens. Also, put out requesting bids for property on Waverly for demolition. Some of those are starting to come in. So hopefully after our date of June 24th, we'll proceed with clearing that property. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent Sperry.
Just a quick update on the creek project. You've probably all seen they've started the excavating in the pond between Gloucester and Kilbourne, and then they've also started lowering the water main on Kilbourne Avenue, and then follow that up with lowering the water main on Gloucester Avenue. They're still kind of feuding with ComEd and NICOR about getting their lines relocated, so it's an ongoing battle. That's where they're at now.
Engineer Nagel.
We already got a few items. So the first item is all the board members have a map of an area that's going to be televised and taped. We're about 14 to 21 days out. We're asking if it's okay if the board could allow us, when we're done with UCQA, Mr. Sperry signs off on it, we are allowed to advertise. In the past, when we get done with the project, we come back, we ask for advertisement. There seems to be a delay. And the delay, really not spending money by advertising, only really spending is the cost to put it in the Midlothian Messenger. And then the next thing we'll come back to you with a recommendation on a bid for a board. So if it's okay with the mayor and board, we would like to say it's okay to advertise once we're completed and Mr. Sperry signed off on it. It's budgeted items.
Yes.
I would like it to be for all the projects in the future too, because This is a good example. This month there was 5 Wednesdays, or last month there was 5 Wednesdays. We lost a couple of weeks in the middle. So, but thank you, I very much appreciate that. The other thing too, today you awarded the contract to Iroquois Paving. Just so everybody knows, it takes about a month to get the contracts, bonds, and insurance to get together from the contractor. And then after that, we'll be starting shortly thereafter in July. And then we're going to have the project completed before the school starts. So we're really excited about that. Okay. Now, on July 1st, the gas tax comes into place. This goes along with the capital bill. So the gas taxes are going to double the MFT gas tax. And so what that means to some people, it means that the village could get double amount of MFT funds. But nobody knows for sure how they're going to distribute the doubling of the MFT funds. We were told by IDOT that 20% of it's going to go to transit. So that means if you do get 80% more, you could reap about $170,000 more a year in MFT funds. And we think it's going to start coming to the village sometime in the fall. But we can't really nail down from anybody what kind of schedule or what the percentage is going to come back to the village on it.
That's not how I read it. I read it that we're not getting anything from that new increase, the state increase, but if the village wanted to, we could put another 3 cents on top to get money for ourselves. That's how I read it. So we're not in, yeah.
We knew about the 3 cents. They never said what was going to happen with the doubling of it.
It looked like it was 80 to the state and 20 for transit. I don't know.
Is that how it was going to go? Okay, so I apologize if I give you misinformation. We're trying to get information on this, and we can't get anybody to tell us anything on it. So
We're not counting our chickens.
And I think what we're all apprehensive about is with this increased gas tax, that people that are close to the border are going to be fueling up in other states, and hopefully this doesn't come back. I'm just afraid that the state's projections might be slightly off.
just so everybody knows, how the village receives their MFT funds is based on the population of the community.
Right.
It's about $23, $24 a person. That's why the census is so important. It's not about how much gas is purchased in the village and that kind of stuff, but that's all I have, Mayor.
Right. Thank you, sir. Treasurer Britton?
I think we may want to have to go to the formal vote to authorize Joe to go on. Advertise.
Can we do that afterwards?
Sure.
Like next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's formally done, otherwise we have.
Okay.
We'll just have.
We'll need it on the agenda. He's going to advertise for that. This. So it's on the agenda.
Okay.
You said nothing?
Nothing.
Attorney Valdez?
Just that the village's run of not being named as a defendant in a lawsuit came to a crashing halt in the last 2 weeks. We've been named in 2 additional lawsuits, one involving a federal regulation, another one involving administrative review. I will keep the board updated as they develop. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Gene already asked me about the bus stop. I was bring that up. You already talked about the chamber lunch. Joyce is not here. I have information here from Comcast, if anyone's interested. Just wanted to continue to bring up Relay for Life of Central Cook. This will be held, excuse me. This will be held Saturday, June 22nd at the Oak Lawn Park District, 9400 South Oak Park Avenue from 3 to 10. They're going to have an opening ceremony at 3 o'clock, and this is a rain or shine event. Rain or shine, yeah. This is for, again, the Central Cook County Relay for Life, celebrating our cancer survivors. So I will plan to be there. That is all I have tonight. Clerk Moscow?
I just have one item, and that is the clerk's office received a request today for a block party on July 4th from the 146th to 147th block of Sawyer. It is signed and completed by 3 different residents, and they have already paid a deposit for the barricades. Does anyone have any objections to this request?
No.
Very good. We will send them a letter for your approval. That is all I have tonight.
Thank you, sir. Seeing as there's no further business coming before the board, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Everyone that doesn't.
That's all right. That used to be.
Doesn't have to authorize.